Hi everyone, I'm Emma from Service 6 and welcome to our very first Q&A session. This is for Happier Families, which is our project which supports children, young people and their families with a variety of issues that they may be facing at the moment. So we've started to do these Q&A sessions, so you can send us anything you want to ask and then we'll be sharing our answers on our videos on social media. We've been having lots of questions this week all about self-harm, so we've decided to do a video today that's specifically about self-harm, and we've got Pep here today, who is one of our OPAL practitioners, and he'll be telling you a little bit more about that before we start answering some of your questions. So Pep, hello.
Hello, so my name is Pep. I'm a youth support practitioner for Service 6 and I work on the OPAL Project. Our OPAL project is our project that's focused on helping young people that either are engaging in self-harm and risky behaviours or potentially might engage in those behaviours. So it's just about prevention and then also supporting young people to work to healthier ways to deal with things.
That's excellent. So could you tell us a bit about what self-harm actually is?
Yeah, absolutely. Self-harm is quite a broad thing, really. I think a lot of people think it's quite a simple thing where it's just one or two things that could happen for a person, but actually it's a big kind of thing. So quite often self-harm is used by people to deal with difficult things in their life, and they're often attached to their emotions. So when people are struggling with their feelings and what's going on for them, they sometimes feel a little bit trapped, and that self-harm is the only option, and self-harm gives them either control over something in their life, or it can give them a bit of a release of negativity, I suppose. Sometimes young people especially, they feel they have no other options and self-harm is their only way out of certain things. Self-harm takes many different forms. So there are the obvious ones where people may cut themselves, or they might burn themselves, but there's a lot more to it as well. So a common one that we find is young people that maybe punch walls or kick kind of walls on a regular basis. Is often gets kind of seen that that's an anger problem. Yes, there might be anger involved, but they're still harming themselves and putting themselves at risk, so it does come under the self-harm umbrella as well. And then you have other things like restricting food and drink, sabotaging kind of relationships, not going to doctor's appointments and looking after ourselves in that respect. So there's a whole range of different things that self-harm can look like.
And I think that's really key. I think a lot of people don't really understand what different methods there are where young people do self-harm, so it's really good that you bring that up today.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we're going to get to the questions now. We're going to go through all of the questions today that people have asked about self-harm. Some people have asked us questions throughout this week that we won't be answering in this video. We will be answering them in the upcoming videos, but we have responded to all of you through direct message as well. So these are the questions that we're going to be doing today. So the first question, Pet, is: I recently noticed that my 12-year-old has cuts on their legs and I'm worried that they are self-harming. How do I approach her and ask her about it?
Okay, so this is probably quite a common thing for parents to kind of notice in things, and I think straight away we worry about how we are going to discuss those things because they're awkward and they're difficult to speak about. But the key thing is communication. It's about the initial approach and how we're going to deal with it. So honesty and being open. I think you need to speak to your daughter just to say, look, I've noticed these cuts and scratches on you, and I'm just obviously I'm worried, and taking it really kind of honest and open from the start. I think then it's about not pressurizing and questioning and kind of putting too much pressure on the young person. I think it's really easy as a parent to want answers to everything, but actually quite often a lot of the young people we work with don't know the answers themselves. They don't know why they're self-harming, or they don't understand the full reasons why. So to question your daughter too much about it and to put pressure on her about why you're doing it is not is not a great approach. So it's just about being really open, but at a nice kind of slow pace, explaining that you're there to help, explaining that I want to support you, but asking them what they want from you in terms of that support, because it's different to each young person. Some want you to ask about it regularly and make sure they're okay, whereas others want a different approach to it. So it's just about putting the control with the young person, how they want you to deal with it. Also, if there is concerns for self-harm, obviously there's lots of professional help that can be sought, and you can approach that either through your doctors. You can come to places like Service 6 or other charities and places that there are out there that can help, but it's just about doing that with the young person as well. Don't make a doctor's appointment for your daughter without telling her. Don't put a referral in for some support without talking her through it, what you're going to do as well. Once you've then started talking about it, you've got some communication. Once that awkward first bit's out of the way, you can then start working together to find new ways of coping, and if they do get some support elsewhere, you can do that together, or you can use new techniques together. It's just about being with them for the kind of journey, I suppose, rather than pressure and against them almost in a way that's just going to make things worse.
Fantastic. And you've mentioned about the support there and make sure they get support. We will be putting in the tag for this video different places where people can go for support if they're affected by anything we talk about today. So that will be like the GPs and a bit about our referral process and stuff like that. So that will be attached to this video. The next question is, I have been self-harming for 3 years now and it seems to be getting worse and I want to stop. What do I do? Okay, so it's really hard when a young person or when someone has been self-harming for a long period. Just stopping is going to be difficult, but it is possible. But it's not going to happen just in one kind of easy step. There's not one answer to this question that's going to just help someone stop. And I think understanding that's really important in someone's journey to move into healthier kind of ways that they deal with things. First of all, if there isn't anyone else in their life that they're talking to about it, whether that be friends and family or professional help, I think that's the first place that needs to kind of be addressed. I think go and speak to your doctors. They can signpost, they can get you support from other agencies and stuff, or getting in touch, like we just said, with an agency directly. I think once you've got someone that you can talk to about it, you can then move forward with managing it yourself. Once you've started talking about it and kind of understanding it a bit more, I think it's about looking at other aspects of your life and things that keep you busy, things that keep you and your mind occupied as well. And that's so many different things for many different people. And we're going to cover a little bit off at the end of this session, but we'll also publish some of it on our social media as well. But it's just about doing things for yourself and looking after you as an individual. So it's about getting up and having a shower and doing your hair and just kind of looking after your appearance, so you start the day feeling a little bit more positive about yourself. It's about not then just sitting around all day with those thoughts on your mind. It's going out, it's doing things, it's keeping busy and preoccupied. If you do that, as well as get the professional support, and you've got someone that you can talk to about the feelings and the emotions attached, gradually over time you will hopefully start moving away from the self-harming behaviors. You'll find yourself some new healthier ones, and talking will be one of those. And it can be a slow journey. There's a lot of trial and error with new techniques and healthy ways and stuff, but the more you kind of start trying new things, you'll start finding different things that really help you. And again, we'll publish some of those afterwards and things, but I think the key there is seek that professional help. Yeah, that's really good. Thank you for that, Pat. Okay. Our next question is, a lot of children at my daughter's school self-harm, and I think that my daughter will as well because of peer pressure. How can I stop her? So this potentially is something that a parent might be worrying about, but actually isn't even on a young person's mind. So we worry about it as an adult and as a parent because we know it's happening, and then we assume that our children might then get involved with that and be part of that. So this comes back to communication again for me. I think first of all, it's about having
very open and honest conversations with our young people, with our kids about what's happening in school, whether that is about self-harm or another issue. I think the more you talk about it with them, the more they understand it, and the more they're going to come to you if there is a problem with that. So I think the communication thing is key. I think learning about it yourself, I think, again, as a parent, we might not know about a topic. And I think the more we kind of go out there and try and learn about it, not just learn from what we hear is happening at school, go and actually find out about it, will put our mind at ease in some ways as well. Because the young people that we work with that do self-harm are doing it for a reason. They're not doing it because it's something that's happening at school and I want to follow suit. There's usually more to it. So again, that then comes back to the communication and understanding what's going on for your young person, for your child. I would also speak to the school if you're concerned that this is something that's happening outside your home and in a school environment. Speak to the school about your concerns, see what they're doing and what they've got in place to make sure that your young people are being kept safe in a school environment. And again, if it is stemming from a school environment and you find out your young person is engaging in self-harm from the school, then you need to work together to help your young people, your kids, to kind of move forward from it. But generally speaking, in terms of the peer pressure side of things, if you can have that open and honest communication with your young people from the beginning about it. So once you hear about it, it's about discussing it. And again, not pressurizing, not questioning and asking what they're doing every minute of the day, but actually just having open conversations that show you're aware about it. It raises their awareness of it. And then, as I say, if there is a problem, hopefully you've got that communication in place to deal with it.
Mm-hmm. Communication does feel like it's the big key part of all of this with support. Talking to young people and even school and professionals as well. It seems like it's very important.
It is, and I think as adults we either feel we're doing the best thing, but actually we're not. And I think also with a topic like this as well, we don't actually always know the best thing as an adult. A young person's life is very different to our life when we were at school, for example, and lots has changed. So we might not understand some of those things that they have to deal with, but by talking to them, by discussing it, we can start to gain that understanding, and then we can work with our young people and our children rather than doing something that we think's right and it turns out to be a bad thing.
Yeah. So this is our last question. So it's, I really need some advice about my son. He has been self-harming by scratching his arms and wrists, but I'm pretty sure it is actually just for attention. I spend lots of time with him and tell him to stop, but he doesn't listen to me. How can I get him to listen? Okay,
so I think there's a couple of things here. First of all, that might not be helping the situation, even though might have all the goodwill and be trying to help. First of all, telling someone to stop, unfortunately, is not going to work, because if it was that simple, they'd tell themselves that and there wouldn't be an issue. So again, this comes back to understanding why, rather than just saying stop doing that, and then working together to help it stop in the long term. But making promises with young people to stop is really dangerous, because then they're already struggling with feelings and emotions, and if they break promises, they'll feel even worse. So we advise that you never make promises and get someone to say, oh, I'm not going to harm again, and I promise not to. That can be quite dangerous and negative for the young person. And rather saying, oh, stop doing that, it's about saying, okay, what could we try that will help you to stop doing that eventually, rather than just you've got to stop, because that's not going to work. I think the other thing is, we find with a lot of young people that we work with, the word attention, and when people say they're doing it for attention, is always complete opposite. Self-harm and behaviours like that are often a very private thing that young people do in their own time. They usually do it very hidden from everybody else in the world because they don't want attention. So it's very opposite to that. And then to be called an attention seeker, or just for the word attention to be used, then again, it makes a young person feel 10 times worse than perhaps they already did. So avoiding language like that is really good. And this comes back to awareness and understanding of the topic. If you're not sure yourself, gain that information, do a little bit of research, ring for help yourself to get advice on it, because you might say these things with all the goodwill and not realize it could be a bad thing. And again, this comes back to then discussing actually what's going on for that young person, and then finding them alternatives. So actually, if he's scratching himself because, for example, he's getting really stressed out with homework and schoolwork, actually, when you understand that by that conversation, you can then help them with that. You can approach the school about it, you can do the homework with them, you can plan in time that you know they do something enjoyable and they're away from the stresses of life. It all comes back to working with them and asking what they kind of need to help and stuff. And again, once you've started that communication and you start gaining an understanding, it's much easier for you and for them to then move forward with everything.
That's really helpful, Pat. Thank you for that. And thank you for answering everybody's questions today. I'm sure if anybody else has got any more questions related to self-harm, you can still send them to us. Even if we don't answer them in like a video chat like this, we will definitely still answer you on our social media platforms. If you want to text us, call us, then please do that. We are here to help, to listen and to offer any advice that we can. So we thought we would end this video with just providing a little bit extra support to you all. Pet's going to share with us some healthy alternatives and distraction techniques that you can use if you are self-harming. Pet, do you want to take us through
absolutely
ways that can help?
So I picked out 2 or 3 things that we hear on the OPAL project from our young people quite often to be really helpful. Again, we'll publish some more and these things at the end as well on our social media. So I'm just going to cover a few of them off. Now, the first one that a lot of our young people like is using ice. So ice can be used really easily for lots of different things in terms of risky behaviours and self-harm. So first of all, ice is accessible to most of us. It doesn't cost much money. So it's easy to access, which is a great start. What we do advise, if someone does like using ice to help and as a coping mechanism, have a little sandwich bag made up of ice cubes that you can access easily, so you can just go and grab them straight away. Now, ice is really good for a couple of things. First of all, you can take it outside and you can throw it around and you can smash it and you can stamp on it on the floor, as long as you're doing this in a safe manner, so throwing it at a wall, not people, obviously. But this just gives us a way to let out some of our frustration and anger, because they're often feelings that are linked to self-harm. So it gives us that. That's number one. Also with ice, we can just hold ice and squeeze ice. What that does, it gives us a bit of a sensation in our hands and on our skin, which distract our mind from what was going on anyway. And the senses are really key to kind of a lot of coping mechanisms and dealing with our feelings and emotions. So the sensation from that one can help. And also just rubbing it on our skin, especially for someone that may engage in self-harm in a particular area on their body. By rubbing an ice cube over that area, it creates it to go numb. It makes it go a little bit tingly. So it gives that person that feeling in an area they might usually harm in. So it's just a safe alternative to that, but gives the same sensations. Another one we find that a lot of young people really benefit from, and I appreciate this is something you can only do if you've got one, but using our pets to help us with our emotions and how we're feeling. So talking to our animals is a really, really important one, and a lot of our young people that engage in self-harm that have animals all use their pets to do this. So it's about talking about those difficult things with your pet, because your pet can't respond and your pet won't judge, and they're often things that we worry about when we talk about how we feel. So talking to our pet, first of all, is a good one. We've then got the fact that we can stroke our pets, and again, that gives us that sensation and that feeling. They're often comforting. They can come and cuddle up with us depending on what pet you've got. And then we can also, with some pets, we can use them to get outdoors, and that's the third thing that we find that is a really good one for coping, is being a bit more physical and getting out. So like I said earlier, we often would find that it's a private thing and we engage in self-harm, and when we're struggling with our emotions, we're very tucked away, maybe in a bedroom or in the bathroom. So by getting ourselves out of that comfort zone almost and putting ourselves in a different environment can be really beneficial. And if you can use your pet to do that, it's even better. So going for dog walks. If you haven't got a pet though, just getting out of the house, going for a walk, getting on your bike, going on your scooter, go and kick a football against the wall. Something that gets you outside and physical will just automatically make you feel a little bit better. And by doing that, you're out of your comfort zone. You're distracted by something else that will take your mind off whatever was going on for you. And then when you come back, you're in a better frame of mind, hopefully, to deal with what was going on for you that caused it in the first place. So that's just very quickly kind of three things that we find that young people have benefited from quite often. But as I say, we're going to put some more up afterwards, and we'll remind you of those ones online. But just get in touch with us as well. Like Emma said, if you've got any questions or if anything's been brought up from what we've been through today, just get in touch with us, and we can obviously go through that with you.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said before, the caption for this video will give you information about where you can go for more support. We will be posting all the extra things on our social media channels, like throughout this week and next week as well. So they'll be easily accessible for everybody. And thank you, Pep, for joining us today.
No problem.
And thank you everybody for watching today, and for submitting your questions. If you've got any other questions, don't forget to send them to us, and we'll be posting a new video every single week. So come back next Thursday at 6 o'clock, where we'll be answering some more of your questions then. Bye everybody.
Thank you.